Hi Intelform to community. Here's Intelurban v2. Intelurban is an AutoCAD plugin for fast, easy, interactive parceling and creating blocks and urban zones with strong visual appeal. After installing the plugin in AutoCAD, the Add-ins tab has two commands: Run Intelurban or Set Parameters. In Settings, you can change the language. Only English and Spanish now. Then run Intelurban. The system prompts you to select the polylines here. After selecting the base polyline, press Enter. Then message appears. Choose a dividing line, or press Enter to continue. The lines we see on the screen are the lines that represent our urban sections. The red line corresponds to the center line, while the blue lines represent the upper and lower sections. Click associated text to toggle the top or bottom section on or off. By default, 4 sections appear. Set in the settings. We can go to settings again and enable or disable the upper and lower sections, as well as define their depths. These values apply default whenever we run the command. However, we can always modify them dynamically during execution using the aforementioned labels. You can also move lines. Click them, then drag to the desired position easily, and we can also rotate them. For this, just press the Control key while moving the cursor, so we can shift sections as needed and form any shape. Important tip: if you move the center line, our main reference, all other lines reset automatically to default shape. First find the center line, then adjust top and bottom lines if needed. Once the sections are defined, we press Enter and the system will proceed to parcel them. Lines representing the divisions will appear, along with labels indicating the width of each plot. At this point, we can click on the labels to modify the values precisely, or click directly on the dividing lines and move them, indicating the point that represents the new position. Again, in the settings, we can also define the default widths for each section: left, right, upper, and lower. Simply enter the desired values in the form, and the command will be pre-configured with those dimensions. Still, as mentioned, these values can be adjusted dynamically during the execution of the Intelurban command. Also, each section space shows text with the number of plots. Click this text to edit it. The plot updates to the value you enter. For example, this section has 6 plots. We can change it to 5. Press Enter, and the system will automatically redistribute the 5 plots with equal widths. Additionally, there is a label that represents the angle of the dividing lines with respect to the section's baseline. By clicking on this label, we can modify the angle relative to the perpendicular by entering positive or negative values. For example, value 5 rotates the lines 5 degrees in the positive direction. Value -10 rotates them 10 degrees the other way. Although this allows flexibility, most divisions in practice are perpendicular to the baseline. Once all divisions are defined, we press Enter again. At this point, details auto-generate, housing blocks with labels showing each plot's lot number. We can edit these blocks by clicking on the label, which will open a form where we can select the desired block type. or choose the null option to not generate any element or an empty plot. Press Enter to finish generating drawing details, shadows, trees, textures, and other graphics. Final output is one block you can explode and edit freely, since all generated parts are native AutoCAD entities. Again, in Settings we can set which blocks the plugin uses by default to fill plots. Activate them in this list. Hover the cursor over list items to preview the highlighted block right in the panel each time. But even if we deactivate a block from the list, we can always choose them during the command's execution by clicking on the corresponding labels. Lastly, in Settings we choose whether to include trees, shadows, apply clips to the blocks to fit them to the original polygon, work in monochrome, grayscale, or color mode. Add an offset to the dividing lines to simulate walls, and we can also adjust the transparency of the resulting block. So it's proven. In this version, users fully control generated geometry here. The result: light, practical drawings with high visual detail. If we work in units other than meters, we simply need to adjust the measurements in the configuration form. If we work in centimeters or millimeters, we adapt the values to the corresponding scale. For example, we scale this polyline 100 times. We adjust the values in our configuration form. And run the Intelurban command. Everything works perfectly, just bigger scale. Perfect. Looks beautiful. Intelurban is a handy, practical tool with visuals that greatly boost project presentations. It's not the same to show a basic, simple, bare design as one enriched with this level of detail. I hope you find it very useful. Regards.